if you watched my July book haul, you may remember me saying something along the lines of, this will be the last one for a while because I need to stop. So I'm here. This is August and I have another book haul for you. I promise nobody is judging me harsher than myself. Okay, so we're going in reverse order, sort of, just because that's how the stack ended up. So we'll start with a book that I picked up yesterday from Chepstow Bookshop. I popped in to pick up their magazine Book Time and just, you know, happened across a quick browse, and then this happened. One thing led to another. I was at the shelves, saw this, picked it up. It's described as sharp and funny and tender, all kind of buzzwords that really appeal to me. But let me read you the blurb. I won't do this for all of them because this is what pulled me in. Vero has grown up in Rome with her eccentric family, an omnipresent mother who is devoted to her own anxiety, a father ruled by hygienic and architectural obsessions, and a precocious genius brother at the centre of their attention. As she becomes an adult, Vero's need to strike out on her own leads her into bizarre and comical situations and a complicated relationship with truth and storytelling. I thought that sounded like a really good time. So that's Lost on Me by Veronica Raimo, and it's translated, it doesn't say what language from, but I'm going to guess Italian given that it's set in Italy, but that could be incorrect. Translated by Leah Janeczko. So that's our first of several. Next up are a few books that I picked up from my trip to Cardiff, and that's in a reading vlog coming up at some point in the future. I've no idea. I'm 2 vlogs down, unedited, so I'll be honest, I've no idea when that's going to surface onto YouTube, but it exists. So the first 4 books I picked up at Troutmark Books. It's a second-hand bookshop in one of the arcades in Cardiff, and it is floor to ceiling books. It's such a fun time to have a browse in there, and if you are somebody who's interested in unusual editions or comics, there was just an absolute abundance. It was really great. You could spend hours browsing there. So I picked up 1 novel and 3 poetry collections. The novel that I picked up was West by Carys Davies. I read Clear by Carys Davies earlier this year and loved it, and so immediately added her backlist to my wish list, and this is one of them. It looks like a kind of speculative western. So there's a family, a guy who abandons his daughter because somewhere out west in Kentucky there have been some bones of an enormous creature discovered, and he wants to go and see if the rumours that these are living mysterious creatures still in existence. Sounds very different to Clear, but really exciting nonetheless. Then I picked up 3 poetry collections. The first is The Blue Book by Owen Shears. Philip from A Poet Reads to Write recommended Owen Shears poetry. Philip recommended Owen Shears poetry. There we go. He's a Welsh poet, and this is one of his collections. It says that it includes poems on a wide range of themes, from recollections of a return to Fiji to sharper memories of an adolescence in a Welsh market town. Sounds great. So looking forward to giving Owen's poetry a go. In, again, another Welsh poet, I picked up The Bed of Memory by Earle, and another Welsh poet, I picked up Small by Natalie and Holborow. Doing a very good job here, am I? I've had quite a busy day and I'm rushing to do this. I should probably have done it properly, but here we are. So that's 3 poetry collections and West by Carys Davies from Troutmark Books. Then I popped into the Queer Emporium I was looking for an iced coffee, but even better than that, as I walked in and glanced around the shop, I noticed that they had a couple of shelves of books. So what a happy coincidence. I picked up Grandmother's Closet by Luke Hereford. This is a copy of Luke's play. It's an autobiographical musical adventure that promises mischief and mashups, dresses and divas, and a whole lot of heart. So I'm really looking forward to that, and it's teeny tiny, so I might squeeze it in for shorty September. And then the other book that caught my eye is Jan Morris's In My Mind's Eye, A Thought Diary. This is a collection of diary entries. Jan was a former soldier and journalist, and this is a collection of her diary entries over the course of a year, and I think it covers like basically all sorts of different topics, some current affairs, some completely random. I thought that sounded pretty interesting. Next up, I picked up a copy of Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. The reason that I bought this is because the Dreaded Amazon have this thing where sometimes when you buy 4 things, they give you 5% off. And I was buying 3 other things, I forget what. And so I just added something from my wish list in to make it up to 4 so that I could benefit from the 5% off. So that's nice, isn't it? It's a beautiful edition. I'm really happy with it. Such pretty colours. This is my vibe, you know, the purple, the lilac especially, but the red and purple is how I try to make my garden, very unsuccessfully. But I like red and purple together, it's lovely. Then I had a very happy thing happen, and that was that I won a giveaway from Greystone Books on Instagram, and they sent me this copy of Misty Pratt's All in Her Head, and I am stoked for it. It sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's about how gender bias harms women's mental health, and it's challenging the fact that women are more adversely affected by mental health and yet are less part of the research. It's common for women's health issues to be dismissed very easily. I've got experience of that. And also that normal emotions tend to be medicalised. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this and getting my rant on with Misty Pratt. Then the next few books I picked up on a book shopping trip to Bristol. I met my friend Kasha for a bookish day, and we went to a few different bookshops and some charity shops. So this is what I picked up. I picked up The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I have seen this more and more. I feel like it's one of those classics. Is it a classic? It's not recent anyway. That's having a real kind of like moment on social media at the moment, and yeah, I've got whipped up in that. I have nothing more to say. It's about a father and son walking through a post-apocalyptic America, I think. I've heard really good things about Cormac McCarthy's writing. I picked this up at the last bookshop in Bristol, which is a fave. Also from the last bookshop in Bristol, I picked up Dazzling by Chikodili Emelumadu. This has been on my wish list for a long time. Ooh, okay. Treasure and her mother lost everything when Treasure's daddy died. Haggling for scraps in the market, Treasure meets a spirit who promises to bring her father back, but she has to complete a monstrous task for him first. Ozomina has an itch in the middle of her back that can't be scratched, an itch that tells of her great and terrible destiny, secretly passed down through generations to defend her people by becoming a leopard. Her father impressed upon her what an honour this was before he vanished, but it's one she couldn't want less. But as the two girls, oh my god, this sounds so fucking cool. As the two girls reckon with their burgeoning wildness and legacy of their father's decisions, Ozomina's fellow students at her new boarding school start to vanish. Treasure and Ozomina will face frightening choices as they are drawn into the battle with sinister forces, and it's a fight they can't both survive. What? How good does that sound? Like I said, this has been on my wish list for ages. I don't remember how I came across it or who I heard about it from first, but I spotted it in the last bookshop and recognised the cover because it's so striking, as one that I've had on my wish list for a long time. And yeah, I picked it up because of that. And I haven't looked at it again since, but it sounds blooming great. Then a couple of charity shop purchases. I bought Summer Water by Sarah Moss. This is set in the Scottish Highlands and is set up to be a bit of a mystery, I think. The blurb describes a couple driving, but are they kind of like rushing away from something? A woman running across the mountain, but is she running away from something? And a boy out on his kayak on his own. And yeah, I guess this book is about what draws them together or pulls them apart or whatever. I read The Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss recently and thought it was excellent, so was really keen to read more from her. I feel like she writes concisely, really effectively. She certainly did in Ghost Wall. There was a lot covered in that. Yeah, so Summer Water. I also picked up The Offing by Benjamin Myers. This is on the recommendation of, well, lots of people, but predominantly Ben Reed's good, because he described it as something that would be good for fans of still life. Still life is one of my favourite books, so that's quite high expectations to set, but I'm excited to see what it's all about. So following the Second World War, a soldier comes home and he comes across a cottage where an old woman lives, and she teaches him, what does it say? The pleasures of rich food, sea swimming, sunburn and poetry. It actually sounds a bit more like A Year of Marvellous Ways in the blurb, but also love that book, so very happy to read something similar. The next book I found in a charity shop was Medusa by Jessie Burton. I'm going to be reading this for Shorty September and I'm very excited about it. I don't think I need to tell you what it's about. It's about Medusa. From Hereford Books, I picked up Green Water, Green Sky by Mavis Gallant, and this is what drew me in to this one. It's described as an elegant, melancholic novella about memory, family and the meaning of home. This is the tale of the fractured family life of Bonnie McCarthy, a glamorous American divorcee, and her daughter, Flor. Uprooted and unmoored, mother and daughter lead an itinerant existence, with Venice, Cannes and Paris as their backdrop. When Flor attempts to flee this untidy life and the oppressive rule of her eccentric mother, she instead succumbs to a gradual decline into breakdown. Green Water, Green Sky was Mavis Gallant's debut novel and is a quietly dazzling example of her masterful shifts in narrative perspective and her visceral exploration of displacement and exile. Thought that sounded blooming marvellous. So yeah, and then I have one more book. My lovely friend Rianne brought a big stack of books to book club a couple of weeks ago and said, help yourself to any that you fancy. So I grabbed Butter by Asako Yuzuki. Hang on. Oh, it's on the front, translated by Polly Barton. Well done, publishers. I think that's Fourth Estate. So from what I remember, this is about a chef who is also a bit of a killer. I really loved, what's it called? Got it up here, A Certain Hunger. I thought that was an absolutely banging book, and it gave me, hearing people talk about this book gave me those kind of vibes. Yeah, I'll look forward to reading this, so thank you, Rianne. And there you go, there is my stack. That's it. I'm still buying more than I'm reading, so it really has got to stop. You heard me say it. Hold me accountable. No more book hauls for a little while. Not until Christmas. You hear me? Not until Christmas. So, way, there we go. What a fantastic stack of books. I'm so pleased with all of them though, I really am. Well, tell me what you've been buying. Make me feel better about my complete lack of self-control when it comes to book buying. It's a hobby of its own, right? Like, reading is one hobby, book admin is another hobby, social media about books is another hobby, and book buying is its own hobby. You see, it's self-care. It's self-care is what it is. Yeah. That's all I have for you today, and I'm not going to do a what this week because I'm going to post this tomorrow, which will be Tuesday when I usually upload those, and if I get round to it I might have a vlog for you on Saturday, but who knows, because I've got so much editing to do. Anyway, you don't want to hear about that. I'm wittering now. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and I'm very grateful for your time. See you again next time.